Hey there everybody, Unbudging Salmon here. Today we're making a deck list video for the Legend Anthology and XYZ event that is going on right now. There's only a few days left in the event, so if you don't have all of the medals that you're wanting, this deck may be able to score you some last minute medals, and it's good for both events, I believe. I've seen this deck floating around a couple of times that I've been playing the matches. It seems really good. In general, the only time that I've consistently beaten it is when I've had like the designator thing for Blue Eyes in the rental deck, and I've had my twin-headed Blue Eyes dragon on the field, so I could make so they couldn't attack directly, and they could only attack the one that removed them from play. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot of counterplay that I've seen so far, except for banishment, because they can't be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage with them. They can't be destroyed by card effects, so as long as they're not banishing your cards, this deck should be pretty good. Alright, so with that being said, let's look at the Lyrical Lucinia build for this deck. So, not starting off with the first 9 monsters being Lyrilusc cards, but we have Evil Thorn, and you contribute it to inflict damage to your opponent, and if you do, you can summon up to 2 Evil Thorns from your deck in attack position, but their effects cannot be activated. Pretty basic. This deck revolves around getting a lot of level 1 monsters on the field so that you can XYZ with them. Jester Confit. You can only control 1, but you can special summon it from your hand. In attack position, if it's summoned this way, during your opponent's next end phase, target 1 monster your opponent controls and return them both to the hand. It's just another level 1 monster to spam on the field. Steel Swarm Cell. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. While it's faced upon the field, it cannot be tributed except for tributing for a Steel Swarm, but that's okay. We don't have any monsters above level 1, so not important. Alright, and then we have our first Lyrilusc. We got Cobalt Sparrow. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 level 1 Wing Beast monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Cobalt Sparrow once per turn. An XYZ monster that was summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. So that's pretty good. I like that one. You get 2 of those. Then we have Sapphire Swallow. So if you control a Wing Beast monster, you can special summon both this card and 1 level 1 Wing Beast monster from your hand. You can only use this effect of Sapphire Swallow once per turn. A wind monster that was summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. If it was XYZ summoned, you can target 1 Lyrilusc monster in your graveyard and attach it to this card as material. You have Turquoise Warble. If you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can from your hand, you can summon 1 Lyrilusc monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use the effect of Lyrilusc Turquoise Warbler once per turn. Then we have Watch Cat. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand during the end phase. If this card was special summoned this turn, you can banish this card. Set 1 continuous spell directly from your deck. You can only use each effect of Watch Cat once per turn. You have 2 of those. Oh, sorry. 3 Sapphire Swallows, 3 Turquoise Warblers, 2 Watch Cats, and then you have Beryl Canary. If this card is in your hand, you can target 1 Lyrilusc monster in your graveyard, special summon both this card and that monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the deck for the rest of the turn, except XYZ monsters. You can only use Beryl Canary once per turn. A wind XYZ monster that was summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. This card gains 200 attack, also control cannot switch. You run 3 of those. And then the expensive monster in the deck is, of course, Celestine Wagtail. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Lyrilusc spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Lyrilusc XYZ monster you control and attach this card as material. You can only use each effect of Celestine Wagtail once per turn. Okay, so only 1 of those. This deck is supposed to be pretty cheap to make, and it more or less is. We're gonna go Where Art Thou. If you control 1 level 1 monster, you can add 1 level 1 monster from your deck to your hand. During the end phase of this turn, take 2,000 damage if you do not normal summon the added monster or a card with the same name after activating this card. Very real chance you're going to take 2,000 for this, because there is a lot of special summoning that goes on. Lyrilusc Bird Call. You can take one Lyrilusc monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Then you can special summon one Lyrilusc monster with a different name from your hand. You can only activate Bird Call once per turn. Wing of Requital. If all monsters you control are winged beast monsters, and you control at least 2 monsters with different original names, you can pay 600 life points and draw 2 cards. You can only activate one Wing of Requital per turn. And then you have Mask of Brutality. You can equip the equipped monster gains 1,000 attack, loses 1,000 defense. Once per turn during your standby phase, you can pay 1,000 life points or destroy the card. Psychic Blade, you can pay life points in multiples of 100, maximum 2,000, to equip this card to a monster. It gains that much attack and defense. You can only activate one Psychic Blade per turn. And you have Bird Sanctuary, Lyrilusc Bird Sanctuary. You can target 2 Winged Beast monsters, 2 Winged Beast XYZ monsters you control. Attach one of those monsters to the other as material. Transfer its material to that monster. If you control an XYZ monster with 3 or more materials, you can draw 1 card. You can only use each effect of Bird Sanctuary once per turn. MST, we all know what Mystical Space Typhoon does, and it is not negate. Forbidden Chalice, you can target 1 face-up monster in the field until the end of this turn. It gains 400 attack, but its effects are negated. Which is, you know, this is kind of like a little last resort-esque thing if you're attacking directly already. But alright, so now we're going to get into the extra deck. Only this first row is part of the actual extra deck. I added Simorgh and Appaloosa just because I already had them. They are not required. This deck is supposed to be relatively cheap to make. If you have them, you know, toss them in, but not actually part of this deck list. So Lyrilusc Recital Starling. It takes 2 or more level 1 monsters. If this card is XYZ summoned, you can target 1 face-up monster in the field. It gains 300 attack and defense for each material attached to this card. Once per turn, you can attach 1 material from this card, add 1 level 1 Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. All battle damage you take from battles involving this XYZ summoned card is also inflicted to your opponent. Good stuff. Here is kind of the bread and butter of the deck. So you have Assembled Nightingale. It gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. This card can attack directly. While this card has materials, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it. Once per turn, you can attach 1 material from this card until the end of the turn. Lyrilusc monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage. So since this can also be made from 2 or more level 1 monsters, you can make this with, you know, 5 monsters. You can attack for 5,000 damage in a turn. Plus all of the boosting that you can get from this means you can OTK depending on what you get in your hand. Which makes it really good for the XYZ event, obviously. For the XYZ event, obviously, you wouldn't use the Link monsters, but that's really it. That's the main strategy of the deck, is get Assembled Nightingale out, pump it up, and swing for the fences. And then moving on, you have Kikin Nagashi Fuko. Or Fucho, I'm not really sure. 2 level 1 monsters, unaffected by other cards' effects. Once per turn, you can attach 2 materials from this card. For the rest of the turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. You also take no battle damage involving this card. I added in Promenade Thrush because I happened to pull one from whatever. So it is made also with 2 or more level 1 monsters. It gains 500 attack for each material attached to it. Once per turn, you can attach 1 material from this card, then target 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls, shuffle it into the deck at the start of the damage step. If another monster you control battles, you can attach any number of materials from this card. That monster you control gains 300 attack for each material detached until the end of this turn. Dope. And then we have Reproducus. It takes 2 monsters. You can activate one of these effects, declare 1 monster type. All face-up monsters on the field this points to becomes that type until the end of the turn. Declare 1 attribute. All face-up monsters this card points to becomes that attribute till the end of the turn. This is more just like mess people up. You're not going to go into them very often. Really, you're just going to be hitting on getting this assembled Nightingale whenever possible. We have Geonator Transverser. This linked card and monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card points to 2 monsters, you can switch control of those monsters, and you can only use the effect of Geonator Transverser once per turn. Alright, so those are the main ones, obviously. I do have some work in here. I can't imagine it being particularly useful, but who knows? Maybe it would be. I don't know. And we have Appaloosa, which again, not made for the deck necessarily. I just tossed him in as a just in case. Really, what you're going to want is the assembled Nightingale. I hope that you guys use this deck. If you do, let me know, please. You can either let me know here in the comments, or you can hit me up on Facebook at I Still Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't Tell Anyone, or on my YouTube Facebook page, which is, of course, Unbudging Salmon. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let me know if you want more deck videos. If you have any that you want to see, please suggest them. And I will talk to you all next time. Bye, everyone.